Good morning, beautiful YouTube people, and welcome back to A Man, a Van, a Plan. Here is today's project. It's a short one, it's a quick one. Today we are going to be installing this Suburban RV furnace into the van. This is the same furnace that I used on my last van build. I think the furnace did a great job. It was actually pretty easy to install and pretty easy to hook up. Because I like the furnace, we're going to use the same one. I think it works well. I had the last van out in like 15-degree Fahrenheit weather, and I had the furnace running all night long. Stayed very, very comfortable, very, very cozy in the van. It was great. So this particular furnace is the NT16 S. Sam E. Edward Q. Queen model. It is made by Suburban. It's not a Suburban car, it's the Suburban RV company. They make a lot of different RV products. I am not sponsored by anybody. If that happens, I will definitely let you know. But I do want to give a shout out to this particular Suburban furnace because I think it works very, very well for these van builds. The furnace is going to be going into this area right here. So what'll happen is I'm going to cut away some of this insulation so that I can run the ducts right through the skin of the van. I'm also going to have to build a small platform to get the furnace up above this lip right here. You can see the kind of platform that I'll have to build. Over here on this side is the hot water tank. So it'll be a very similar platform that I'm going to build on this side. So after the furnace is in and installed on that platform, I'm going to build a two-person bench seat that will fit right over the furnace in that area, and it will also offer me just a little bit of storage under the bench seat. The first thing you need to do is grab your measurements from your furnace so you know how long and how wide to make the platform that the furnace needs to sit up on. Then I've got just a scrap piece of 3/4 inch plywood here. This piece is actually from my window cutout that I made for my big window. So anytime I can reuse pieces and save a little money, I like to do that. So no need to go get a whole new piece. You probably got a scrap piece sitting around from earlier in your van build. So I know that I need to make this 10 by 24. I've got it written down here. I'm just going to do it on the table saw real quick. Remember, as you are operating your table saw, earmuffs and eye muffs. Very, very important. All right, the platform's cut. I didn't share that with you here on the video. But next what I need to do is cut out legs to bring the bottom of the platform up over this lip of the van. So I'm getting those measurements now. So I took that measurement, and I know that the bottom of the furnace has to sit up 3.5 inches to clear that lip. So 3.5 inches minus 3/4 of an inch for the actual platform is 2 3/4 inches. So now I need to make a couple of little legs or little feet to go on the bottom of this that are 2 3/4 inches to get me that 3.5 inches. So we're going to rip a couple of those on the table saw. Next, I need to cut the legs of the platform to length. The legs actually have to be shorter than the platform because the platform needs to be able to clear the lip of the van that I showed you earlier. Next, it's time to drill out some pocket holes. One of my favorite activities. Finally, we're going to attach these legs with some glue and some pocket screws. You can get a little tutorial on pocket screws if you take a look at my last video, building overhead cabinets. I'll throw the link somewhere in here. Okay, I've got the platform all built. One thing that I didn't film was you want to make sure you put pocket holes going down so you've got some place to screw down to your subfloor. So pocket holes going down. I put 4 on each one. Might be overkill, but as you guys know, I like to overbuild my vans because I want to make sure that everything stays in place. So we're going to go temporarily set this in and see how we did. The other thing is, you'll see with this platform, I've got about a 3-inch gap on one side and a 4.5-inch gap on the other. I measured the lip to make sure that the platform would fit over the lip. You need to leave yourself some room because your lip's going to sit right in here, right in this area here, if that makes sense. Next, I'm going to mark and cut out this piece of insulation so the furnace can fit up snug against there. That's going to go bye-bye. Perfect. So this next part of the installation is the most critical part because you get one shot at it. Anything else that we do here, if you screw up, you can throw it away and make yourself a new one. If you screw up the platform, if you miscut, it's not that big of a deal. You can make yourself a new one. But this, you get one shot at it, and that is because you are cutting through the skin of the van. If you screw that up, you're done for. So you want to measure, you want to remeasure, you want to take this step very, very, very slowly. It may take you 3 or 4 tries to get your spacing right, but you want to make sure it's perfect before you actually cut through the skin of the van. Here we go. I have the furnace lined up roughly where it's going to go, right up against the skin of the van. So I know roughly where it's going to go. Now, my wood shop comes equipped with Play-Doh. And I like keeping Play-Doh around for applications like this, where I need to know precisely where I need to drill or start a pilot hole. So what I'm going to do now is take some of this Play-Doh, I'm going to flatten it out, and I'm going to stick it up against the skin of the van. Next, with the outside vents attached to the furnace, I'm going to take the furnace and push it up against the Play-Doh so I can see where I need to drill my holes. Okay, so this one's showing up, and I know I need to drill my pilot hole right in here. This one I didn't quite get, so I'm going to do this again. Little trial and error, that's okay. All right, let's try that one more time. So now I can see I need to drill a pilot hole right there and one right there as well. Okay, I'm using a 9/64 inch metal drill bit to drill these holes. I've drilled this first hole, and now I just made a mark where I'm pretty sure I want the second hole to go. I just want to double check my measurements up against the vents of the furnace and make sure. Yep, 3.5 to 3.5. That's where I want them. And then I'm also going to measure them off this lip. It's 2 5/8 off the lip. And 2 5/8 off the lip. So I've got it perfect. Check, double check, triple check. Right now, if I had made a mistake, I could probably still fix it. But after I make this last hole, that's it. It is where it is. Time to make the last pilot hole. There's no going back now. Next, we're going to go to the outside of the van. All right, we're getting ready to cut through the skin of the van. What I've done is I have taken my speed square, put that up along the side, and then just drawn out this bottom hole. I can look through here and make sure that the top hole is lined up. I didn't do too badly. Looks like this bottom one might need to come down just a smidge. But we're going to go ahead and start with the top hole. I'm going to use a 57 millimeter or 2 1/4 inch keyhole saw bit right into your pilot hole. Eyemuffs on, and off we go. Out of batteries. There it is. Fits perfect. That looks like it's going to line up perfectly. Once I screw this in, I'll make sure that it's square to the trim down here, and then we'll be able to insert it on the inside. But I'll show you what it looks like inside. Looks like we're going to be good to go right around there. Once again, anytime I make a cut through my van, I like to just dull the sharp edges. So I'm going to push the furnace out of the way and do that now. That's it. Next, we're going to hit the area with some alcohol just to make sure everything's clean. Nice thing about alcohol is it only takes a few seconds to dry. Then we're going to tape the area off before we give it a little bit of paint. This is just a little automotive spray paint. It's the same thing I used when I was installing the windows and installing the ceiling fans. Time to let that dry for a bit. Well, I'm pretty sure I just had a camera malfunction. What I've done is I put a layer of Flex Seal underneath this once the paint had dried, and I lined up my exterior vent here, and I used my speed square to make sure that it was straight. After that, I drilled a single pilot hole. I put the screw in. I didn't tighten it down all the way, so I was still able to manipulate this. Then I again made sure it was straight with my speed square, drilled the rest of my pilot holes, and then tightened up all the screws. After that, I took off the masking tape, of which I missed just a little bit here, so I'm going to take the rest of this off carefully. Alright, the last thing I'm going to do today with this on the outside is just use a little alcohol to clean up the area. And there is the exterior of the furnace. Alright, the next thing we want to do is just temporarily place the furnace in here and double check that everything's lining up properly. So putting this in here, I ran into an issue, and that is this part of the furnace right over here. This only sticks out 2 inches. So I need to cut this bottom one back 2 inches. Or I should say I need to cut it back to 2 inches. So I'm actually going to cut it back to about 1 7/8 inches, and I'm going to do that, since it's already in there, with my oscillating tool. Done. Now let's give this another test fit. And it fits in there perfectly. The last thing I want to do before I fasten this all in is I want to cut my platform to the correct length. I need to think about what's going in here after I get the furnace down, and that is a bench seat. So here's what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my vent cover and I'm going to set it in right like so, and then I'm going to mark just like that where the vent cover is going to end. And that's a big thick line. I want to make sure that I cut that side of the line right there. And this will stick out a little bit from underneath the bench seat. That's okay. It'll be fine, but I want to cut that right there. Gonna pull this out for the last time. Set it aside, and I'm gonna go make my cut. I've got everything lined up and I have the platform cut back so there won't be any interference with the bench seat that I'm gonna build here later. I'm not going to attach the platform to the floor just yet because everything in here needs to come out, and I'm going to paint the floor with a anti-mold paint so when things get wet later there won't be an issue. But this is where we're going to end this one today. I appreciate you guys coming along with me. As always, get out there, get adventuring, get building, and we will see you next time.